This is the one you got to keep an eye out for with the Warriors and Rockets. Steph off the screen, layup to go. Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, finished with 25 points. That's why they brought him in, and then Steph sidestep three. Curry finished with 31 points. These Warriors, I know they had to fight their way in. This is a scary team. They won 95-85. They lead this series 1-0.
That's saying a lot. We can't ignore that. We just can't ignore that. Let me go on to a matchup where it isn't necessarily a nightmare, and that's for the Golden State Warriors. They ended up picking Houston. We know that Houston's bigger, they're longer, they're more athletic. They're a better rebounding team. They're formidable defensively, but they struggled to score, and that haunted them last night because when it really, really counted, they didn't have Steph Curry, and they didn't have Jimmy Buckets, as in Jimmy Butler, as in playoff Jimmy. Your thoughts about what you've seen in game one of this series thus far?
Not surprising. Look, I love Houston. I love Ime Udoka, what he built, the culture, the defense, but they can't score. They struggle to score the basketball, and I said it before the trade deadline. For all the people, oh, Houston should wait. I thought it was one or two people Houston should have rolled the dice on. They either should have went at Kevin Durant or Jimmy Butler. Think about Kevin Durant or Jimmy Butler on this Houston team right now, adding a legit guy. Look at what Jimmy Butler has done in the playoffs. Think about this, Stephen A. You hold the Golden State Warriors to under 100 points, and they still beat the brakes off you. So if you're Houston, if I hold them to under 100, but yet I can only get to 80 or 85, that is not a good thing. So I think, look, it's squaring Houston right in the face this offseason after they get beat by 4 or 5 games by Golden State, which is not going to be an embarrassment because they probably understood. Let's wait and see how this thing was going to pan out. But once they get beat, expect them to go all in hard if Kevin Durant becomes available. Because if you add Kevin Durant to that team, that physicality and the way they defend, they just need another guy that makes everybody attention centers around him, which will make everybody else on that team better.
If you are the Houston Rockets, I think right now, if the series goes long, you keep the team intact in all likelihood because you're just young and you fell to an experienced team. If you continue to struggle this way offensively and glaringly, and Jalen Green can't do it for you like he couldn't do it last night, then I think if the Phoenix Suns call and they say, listen, you want Kevin Durant, we want our picks back, and Jalen Green, I think you're the Houston Rockets. You got to strongly consider that, even though Kevin Durant is 35 years of age. To that, you say what?
I say yeah. Because, look, you're still keeping a core. Look, I coached Jalen Green in high school. I love Jalen Green. And I love Ime Udoka. But I will put the ball more in Jalen Green's hands this series. I would put him in a lot of pick and rolls and let him come off that high screen and roll, which would force Golden State to trap him. Because if you switch on to Jalen Green, he can break you down. He made a move last night where he dribbled out the shot clock and still made a reverse layup against the guts of the Golden State Warriors defense. I thought was an unbelievable move, but he needs more opportunities with the floor spread. But that being said, look, if you're Houston, you're going to have to listen to it. Because, again, what you may realize is that you're one prolific scorer away from going deep into the playoffs and having a chance to win a championship. Think about this. Look at what OKC did to Memphis last night. Do you honestly think if you have the inability to score, what will OKC do to you and you can't score the rock?
Damn.
I told people, hey man, people kept saying about, OKC don't have experience. I said that can be negative and that can be a positive because sometimes the best thing you know is what you don't know because you're not afraid of it.
That was a lowest scoring game for the Rockets this season, which I guess is not that surprising considering the way, but this series is going to be hand fighting. I didn't see this entire game because I was working the Cavs Heat post game. The Cavs were victorious by 20 over the Heat in Game 1 here in Cleveland tonight. But the end of this game, I did watch most of the fourth quarter. The Rockets were in position to win this game, but they don't score great on an average day. But they had some possessions at the end of this game.
In position to win the game feels slightly strong.
Well, it was a 3-point game with 6 minutes to go. Is that not in position?
Let's just look. I picked the Warriors to win the series, and there are two reasons there. Number one, they've got the two best players in the series. And that damn sure was the case tonight. Remember when Steph Curry got held to 3 points by the Rockets late in the regular season? Well, he had 31 on 12 of 19 shooting, and some of those, what was the phrase, Bontemps?
Kevin Harlan's line that on the one when he was falling into the seats on the side of the court and threw it in, that, quote, geometrically that should not have happened, was an all-time great call from the
he
great
had
Kevin
some of
Harlan.
those. And remember I told you, Steph Curry's been haunting the Rockets in the playoffs for it's
Sure
a
has
generation now. It's a generation. And like he denied James Harden and that group a chance to go to the finals, and he's haunting them still. Jimmy Butler also great tonight. 25, 7, 6, and 5 steals, 10 and 19 from the floor. They've got the two best players in the series. And the Rockets aren't a good offensive team. They manage to be mediocre in terms of offensive rating just because they bully people on the glass so much. But today, Fred VanVleet, proven champion, critical to the Rockets, great leader. He was 4 of 19 and 2 of 13 from 3. Jalen Green, their leading scorer, up and down, up and down. Can he be a star? That's a big TBD. Stunk it up tonight, 3 of 15. Only had 7 points. Amin Thompson.
And some truly horrific possessions in the fourth quarter when they got back in the game.
That's right. They had several chances, and they had awful possessions, including, I remember one where Jalen Green just went into the lane. I don't know what he was trying to do.
I was surprised that he came back to him.
He just threw the ball at the basket.
It was very rough. Those two guys, as McMahon just laid out, those two guys were combined 7 for 34 from the field and 2 for 17 from 3. And for a team that really needs to get out and run in transition, probably the most important stat of the game. They did have a bunch of points off turnovers, but fast break points, 16-4.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me of a great stat. The Grizzlies did not have a fast break point until Marvin Bagley III hit a half-court heave at the end of the third quarter that counted as fast break.
That was a great stat.
Fast break points are a flawed stat, and that's
okay. Whatever. If the Grizzlies can't run, they're going to be on a fast break.
They are a flawed stat. But coming into this series, everybody, we talked about it too, right? Houston was going to have to try to manufacture enough offense to win this series against a Golden State team that, since they traded for Jimmy Butler, has been the best defensive team in the league. And for the vast majority of this game, Houston looked completely lost on offense. Couldn't get clean looks, couldn't get anything going. The only reason the game was competitive in the first half was Steph missed a bunch of open threes early. The Warriors missed a bunch of open shots early. They then start to build up a bit of a cushion. And the other thing we talked about coming in the series was, could Houston play the big lineups with Steven Adams and Alperen Şengün and even Jabari Smith? They ran out all three of them together